With the Super Bowl in the rearview mirror, where a reported 68 million adults place bets, according to the American Gaming Association, Minnesota remains an island of non-betting. Senator Jeremy Miller has unveiled a new and improved effort to legalize sports betting in Minnesota, and he joins me now in the studio. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
According to a KSTP-TV Survey USA poll conducted in late January, 55% of Minnesotans want sports betting to become legal in Minnesota, as it is in 38 other states, Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C. This bill is your second effort, and over the past few years, there have been a handful of proposals by both DFLers and Republicans. What's holding it up here in Minnesota?
Well, what I'm trying to accomplish with the Minnesota Sports Betting Act 2.0 is really bringing together the stakeholders, bringing together legislators on both sides of the aisle to ultimately legalize sports betting here in Minnesota. It's one of the issues that I hear about most from the constituents I represent in southeastern Minnesota and folks all across the state of Minnesota. And I think it's time to get it done, and I'm hoping that this proposal will help get us there.
You live in Winona on the Mississippi River. Across the river is Wisconsin, which does have legalized sports betting. Your constituents basically do have more access to sports betting than people in other parts of the state because of the proximity to Wisconsin and possibly Iowa. Anecdotally, how many of your constituents are going elsewhere to bet?
Well, it's an interesting question because the legislative district that I have the honor of representing borders both Wisconsin and Iowa, both states, of course, that have legalized sports betting, a little bit different in each state. But what I'm finding and what I'm hearing from constituents is most of them are actually going to Iowa because Iowa has legalized mobile sports betting, and all you have to do is cross the border. So they can literally drive into the state of Iowa and they can place a bet on their mobile device, and then they can drive back to Minnesota. So sports betting is happening in Minnesota, or Minnesotans are betting on sports. They're either doing it in other states or they're doing it illegally. So by legalizing sports betting, not only will we help regulate the market, but the state would also benefit from the sales tax revenue that's generated off of sports betting.
Your bill would provide licensing opportunities for Minnesota's 11 tribal nations for retail and mobile sports betting. Your bill would also allow non-tribal license holders to operate retail betting at horse tracks and at professional sports stadiums with proper partnership agreements. Why this approach?
So my preference and proposals that I've offered in the past would give sports betting licenses to the tribes, the horse racing tracks, as well as the professional sports teams, and I would even like to see the charities get a license. The reality is the votes are not there right now in the legislature to pass a proposal like that. So what I was really trying to craft with this is what type of proposal can we put forward that'll bring together stakeholders and bring together legislators on both sides of the aisle to ultimately get it done for our most important stakeholder, and that's the people of Minnesota. So what I'm trying to accomplish with this proposal is focusing on what's possible rather than sitting back and complaining about what's not possible. And I really think that the 2.0 proposal is something that can get buy-in from the stakeholders as well as bipartisan support to get it done for the people of Minnesota that want to bet on sports.
And you've been talking about this for about a month. So are you having conversations with lawmakers from both sides? Like, are you getting bipartisan buy-in at this point?
Yeah, we've had a lot of good conversations. I think the proposal that I put out helped jumpstart or re-engage the stakeholders. And ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to put a proposal out there that would benefit the tribes, but also benefit the tracks as well as the charities and other folks that have some sort of involvement with existing gambling in Minnesota or sports betting in general. So I'm trying to put forward a proposal that everybody gets a piece of the action, and I believe that this is a proposal that can get it done.
Another aspect of the bill is that it dedicates a portion of the tax proceeds to be used for charitable gaming tax relief for local charities, to attract major sporting events to the state, to boost horse racing, to support youth sports and young athletes, and then also to help problem gamblers. From what I read, the resources would come from a 15% tax rate on sports betting. Is that tax on everybody then who's doing it, both the tribes and non-tribal interests? And then would that revenue be split evenly in terms of who gets it, or is that yet to be determined?
So the vast majority of the sales tax revenue would be generated off of the mobile sports betting, which is where most of the betting takes place. And I think it's really important to note the great work that our charities do in communities across the state of Minnesota. Those that participate in charitable gambling play a significant role for a number of different nonprofit organizations all across the state of Minnesota. So I thought it was really important for them to be involved in this proposal, and a lot of times those charities end up paying more in taxes than they do in giving out money to other local charities in communities across the state. So I thought it was important that we lowered the tax rate on those charities so they can ultimately help support our communities more, and that's why I have charities as a big part of this proposal. And then the other important piece that I'm very, very passionate about is let's attract some more major sports and events to Minnesota. And we have an organization here in Minnesota called Minnesota Sports and Events that's doing a really nice job of doing that. So I thought it would make complete sense for us to have a portion of the revenue that's generated from sports betting go to help attract some of these major sporting events to Minnesota.
The Senate Finance Committee will be the final stop for a bill like this before it can get to the Senate floor. The chair of that committee, Senator John Marty, released the following statement, quote, "There has been significant debate over who should profit from sports betting. However, there has been far too little debate about the human and societal costs that would result from the largest expansion of gambling in Minnesota history." Does your proposal offer enough support for problem gamblers?
So a portion of the proceeds, the sales tax proceeds, would go to help support programs for folks that struggle with problem gambling and provide services to those folks. It's something that I'm very sympathetic about, but the reality is gambling is already going on in Minnesota. Sports betting is already going on in Minnesota. It's just Minnesotans that are doing it. They're doing it in other states, or they're doing it illegally. So it's something that's already happening. I'm very sympathetic to Senator Marty's comments and look forward to working together with him. But yes, there are resources in the proposal that I put forward to help provide services to folks that struggle with problem gambling.
This bill would also reverse changes in the 2023 tax bill that are expected to impact electronic pull tabs beginning in 2025. The law change will eliminate free plays and bonus games from e-pull tabs, which Native American casino owners and some lawmakers have argued are too similar to slot machines. It's worth noting the e-pull tabs generated $1.9 billion in 2022, according to the Minnesota Gambling Control Board. And those proceeds benefit nonprofits that support disability services, food shelves, veteran services, volunteer fire departments, and youth sports. How would legalized sports betting impact e-pull tabs and charitable gambling?
So the 2.0 proposal that I put forward would actually restore some of those functions that were eliminated in last year's legislative session, and I've heard from charities all across the state of Minnesota that they're very concerned about some of those changes and that it could potentially significantly reduce the amount that people play electronic pull tabs, therefore reduce the amount that these charities are able to provide support in their communities. So in working with the charities, they felt that it would be important to have this discussion again this year because, again, they were very disappointed and very concerned about some of the changes that were made during the last legislative session. So I will continue to support charities. I'm a strong advocate for our charities, and that will not change, and we'll continue to support our charities all across the state.
Senator Jeremy Miller, thank you.
Thank you for having me.